Over the last 5 years, the world has disconsolately recorded water-related disasters. Disasters suspected to have been caused by the global climate change phenomenon. Some countries in the West African states that hitherto experienced seasonal flash floods after tropical rain now suffer mass flooding as a result of this drastic mystified turn in weather pattern. In 2012, Nigeria recorded the greatest level of havoc with floods, devastating communities and having severe impact on life and property. Statistics available show that the floods in the country affected about 7.7 million people, with as many as 2 million rendered homeless and a total of 363 people reported dead and over 18,200 injured. Houses, farmlands and roads were covered in water and could hardly be seen for weeks. Men, women and children were forced to flee their communities to seek refuge in faraway communities and towns as internal displaced persons. This situation prompted humanitarian responses from the Nigerian government through the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), the United Nations, the Red Cross, international NGOs, and a number of other stakeholders. One of such organizations was Oxfam Nigeria. Oxfam response strategy was based on assessments carried out by Oxfam, its partners, the Nigerian Red Cross Society, and the Interagency Joint Assessment by the United Nations System, international non-governmental organizations, and the Nigerian Emergency Management Agency (NEMA). Oxfam's analysis of the disaster impact was further strengthened and informed through Flood Impact Assessment in Oxfam Novib Livelihoods and Governance ONLAG project by NIPPRODEF, Oxfam's national partner. Flood Assessment in Ibaji, Kogi State by Oxfam and CISCOP, another national partner. Water Sanitation and Hygiene Wash Assessment of Isoko South, Delta State by Oxfam Rapid Development Team Specialists. The WASH strategy developed by Oxfam focused on collaboration with the Nigeria Red Cross Society for the implementation of its response activities. Oxfam's response strategy was funded by ECHO, Elma Relief Foundation, and Oxfam Novib. The key geographical focus for Oxfam response covered 18 communities in Isoko South, Delta State, located in the Niger Delta, and 53 communities in Bassa, Kogi State, in north-central Nigeria. Assessment at the aftermath of the flood revealed that members of Bassa community of Kogi State relied on the river as their main source for drinking and for other domestic use. While affected communities of Isoko South local government area, the local water authority systems showed that they were easily prone to contamination. Boreholes were without sanitary seal or protective wellhead structures. Shallow wells were not more than 2 meters deep and lacked protective apron with drainage. To effectively implement the WASH intervention initiative, Oxfam focused on the provision of access to clean drinking water for 7,000 vulnerable families in Bassa, Kogi State and Isoko South, Delta State. The project commenced with community identification and data collection through household enumeration to ensure that affected persons were properly identified. Volunteers and community members were trained on the proper use of water purifiers, after which purification tablets and jerrycans were distributed to the affected households. To ensure that the community's natural sources of water were restored, officers of the Nigerian Red Cross Society were trained by Oxfam WASH experts on the use of the LAQUA kits water tester to test household and community water sources to ascertain their drinkability. From their findings, contaminated wells were identified and the team disinfected and chlorinated them. In order to ensure that the wells were better protected, the wells were rehabilitated and properly structured to ensure resilience to contamination in the advent of another flood, thereby mainstreaming disaster risk reduction. To ensure hygiene promotion, more than 50 volunteers were trained in the 2 states. Their focus was on the dissemination of key messages on washing of hands, environmental cleaning, and proper disposal of feces. This was carried out through focal group discussions, household visits, and multimedia displays. To further strengthen and sustain the hygiene campaign, hygiene soaps and laundry were distributed to the affected households. In addition, schools within the local governments were identified for a school campaign on hand washing. Wash hand stands and soaps were also distributed to the schools to encourage the culture of hand washing among the children. Also, information on the proper use of mosquito nets was disseminated and supported by the distribution of treated bed nets to all the affected families. Special attention was also given to the vulnerable, especially widows, the disabled, female members of these communities, as well as household heads and pregnant women and mothers.